Where's my cosign? Okay, well, here we go. 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. Matthew 12:40. Like the Son of Man, like Jonah was in the heart of the. Jonah was in the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights. So the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. A lot of people push back to being Wednesday, some on a Thursday. The traditional, or actually biblical view from 4 lines of evidence is really Friday. Now, then you have to see, is it 3 days and 3 nights literally, or is it 3 days and 3 nights with another definition? And you don't superimpose, you sit back, put on the police chalkboard, and let's see what sticks up there. First is you look at the 4 decrees in the Old Testament, and the 4 decrees dealing with restoring and rebuilding Jerusalem. Can I start all over, go all the way back and do it in reverse?
I'll send it to you.
He'll send it to you. All right, here. So you can send it to us still. So here you are, Danielle. That's me talking sideways. 12:40, Matthew, Jonah was in the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. That's where people get 3 days and 3 nights. The Friday day, and it doesn't work. You push it back to Wednesday, you have a high Sabbath not being a Sabbath. Those are actually misunderstandings there. This is your 4 lines of evidence to begin the answer, since I only have about 2.5 hours or 2.5 minutes. So, here we go. Somewhere in between. Matthew 12:40, like the Son of Man was in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights, like Jonah was in the heart. Jonah was in the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. 1. If you push it back to Wednesday and make it work, it goes to 3 days and 3 nights, forcing it. This is superimposing. Now, it may be true, maybe not. We don't know yet. Let's take a look and see what the Bible says, and not try to, come up with a fig Newton of our own imagination. So you sit back and you look. One is you take the 4 lines of evidence in the Old Testament for the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. As you go through the 4, you will come down to only one, the decree of Artaxerxes Longimanus in 444 BC. When you go from that 444 BC on the first of Nisan from Nehemiah chapter 2 verses 1 to 8, where he's given permission as the cupbearer, and he sends him back to restore and rebuild Jerusalem with a wall. The wall means it's a fortified city, it'd be a threat to any nation if you had your own defense, and it was permitted now. So he goes back to restore. He has a long face, and the emperor says, "What's bothering you?" "Well, my city," and he's given that command to go back and restore. First of Nisan 444 BC. When you go back, it's 69 weeks of years. It's a prophetic calendar, 360. So 69 times 7 times 360, you come to 173,880 days exactly. Then you track it out, because now it's prophetic, and you can mix it with the solar calendar. You go from 1st of Nisan, March 30th, you go from 444 BC, you come out 173,880 days you'll come to the 10th of Nisan in 33 AD. Now you're in 33 AD. Now he's examined for 4 days, and then on the 14th of Nisan you have your Passover. The 14th of Nisan that year was exactly when? Thursday night through Friday. We had the 14th of Nisan. That is always on the 14th of Nisan, no matter what year it is, because it's a lunar calendar. So when you take the decree to restore and rebuild of 69 weeks of years, it's exactly 173,880 days to the 14th, and then to the Nisan 10, 4 days later, you're Nisan 14, which is exactly the traditional Thursday night to Friday, up to dusk, not into Wednesday. The math will never work, number 1. Number 2, the Bible tells you it's the day of preparation. Now, in Jewish terms, you can just go home right there and go to sleep, although you need 2 witnesses. It is without exception in all Jewish writings from the beginning to today, as much as we all Jews talk and have different views on a lot of things, this is without opposition, without contrariness. The day of preparation was always the day before the Sabbath, which makes sense. You prepare right before, not weeks before, a few more days before. The day for the Sabbath is the day immediately before, which ties in also to this time frame, number 2. Number 3, all right, we'll still have to deal with the 3 days and 3 nights. Is there any precedent in the Bible, especially when it's a first mention, it usually sets a tone for 90% of the other references of first mention. The first reference of 3 days and 3 nights in the Bible is where? It's in Esther, end of chapter 4, beginning of chapter 5, and it's stunning. When you look at those references in Esther, it says, for 3 days and 3 nights, I'm calling a fast. Obviously, we're in trouble as a nation here. I'm calling for a national fast. You all for a fast for 3 days and 3 nights, the same pattern of 3 days and 3 nights, like Jonah's in the heart of the earth for 3 days, in the belly of the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, Dal Gadol, great fish. Da Gadol. Da Gadol, the son of man is in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Esther says, fast for 3 days and 3 nights, and then I will go before the king. If I die, I die. I live. If he holds the scepter up and down, but I got to take my chances with this here. But please fast. The country's at stake, and my life's hanging in the balance there. I'll go. So the math is easy. 3 days and 3 nights. Day 1, day and night. Day 2, day and night. Day 3, day and night. And then she would go, which make it day 4. That's pretty straight. You read the text as you go at the end of Esther 4 into the beginning of chapter 5, and it says, and on the third day, she goes in to the king. What happened to the 4th day? Any part of a day qualified, period, and that's the biblical pattern there. If God wanted to say on the 4th day. Now, then you take the 15 references which we've done in Greek for 3rd day and 4th day occurrences. 13 references to on the 3rd day, on the 3rd day, on the 4th day, 2 references to be on the 4th day. So you have 2 out of those. And the 13 out of 15, all is on the 3rd day, about Christ rising on the 3rd day. So you put the pieces together. What also throws it off is Matthew 28:1. It's almost 2.5 minutes, right? So in Matthew 28:1, it says, and it was the. You can laugh. Enjoy it. You can laugh. We're having fun together. It's not at our expense. I can laugh too, and that's why we brought it up. We brought it up for a reason. And in Matthew 28:1, it says, and it was the first day of the week, and they go out during the light. Well, that would be morning. No, it's not an English book. We have 2 calendars, and we're a peculiar people, so deal with us. So the day starts at night, and that's Genesis 1:5. And it was evening. It was evening and morning, day 1. So the day starts at night. The Hebrew translation is almost impossible to do, but it should be done right. From Matthew 28:1, it says technically, and at the light of the day. The day begins at night, so the day has its birth at night. So it comes to life and light are synonymous there with Jesus. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So the day is birthed at night. So they go at night. They go to the tomb at the beginning of the next day, which begins at dusk for the next day. So they saw the tomb to anoint the body and everything else, and that's what happens on that day. So from the day of preparation being the day immediately before, from the decree of Artaxerxes Longimanus, 444 BC, March 30th, 173,880 days takes you to the 10th of Nisan, right to the day, and 4 days later on 14th of Nisan, that being the 10th of Nisan, which is going to fit right with the pattern there. Number 4 would be the blood red moon of the Tetrad, which is 3233 AD, which is the second one, which is the Passover. Passover's 33, 4333 is which astronomically you could take Stellarium or any of those solar programs they have now and flip it all. You could actually see the sky that they saw as they looked up in the sky. It's stunning what God gave us today.
It's accurate because it'll show you an eclipse 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, and you go back and forward. God is giving us that witness in the stars on earth, and you can just go like this and dial it up and see what they saw looking up into the sky, like the shepherds and anybody else. So you would see in the reign of Pontius Pilate, who reigned over that area from 26 to 36 in a 10-year swath, only one blood red moon, only one lunar eclipse, which was on Passover 4/3, which was a Friday 33. So it's the only one of that kind of 4/3/33 puts it together, and you say 163,880 days, 4 days before, you have the 14th of Nisan. Day of preparation, you're right over here, right before the Sabbath. You look at and bring these other pieces together, and it matches together. You have Esther. Any part of a day is the day. She goes and enters on the 3rd day, where she called for the fast, 3 days and 3 nights, and then go into the presence of the king. In our English mind, you go on day 4. She's there on day 3 because a part of a day is a day, and actually, due to a national emergency, at the first chance you can go, she's in like this. And that makes perfect sense. The women did it at the same thing at the tomb. Now, as you just start to put those lines of evidence together, you immediately have to sit back and go, any part of a day is a day, not unlike we use that today. We also use 24-hour days for day and night. We all use that too. They do that, but not in this instance. We also use part of a day for a whole day. Oh, man, I worked all day. You really worked all day? Did you? All day. I slept all night. Did you really sleep all night?
Well, it depends which kid you ask.
I know.
So
was that 2.5 minutes? Did we get that?
Yes.
Okay. So that's. Did you ask the question? No. That was yes from earlier today. You're there, so that should begin to answer your question that we promised in